Hello, everyone. Welcome to the pre-show of the Codex podcast. As usual, I'm your host, Sonny Kruger, and joining me today is my co-host, Dan Kelly. Find him
What's
at
up?
Dan Kelly Art.
Yes, find me there.
Yes, very good, Dan. Good to have you on. Today, we will be reviewing your pick, Sachs and Violens. So, good, dark story.
I try and think whenever it's my turn to pick a story for us to review. I try to think like, all right, what is it I can pick that's going to be like, A, something Sonny hasn't read before, but B, something that's going to be, something interesting. I don't want to say like out of the norm because I know I've picked superhero type stuff before and normal comic stuff before, but I always try and kind of think like, all right, what's something that is that's maybe a little bit more out of the ordinary, or maybe something that would be a bit unexpected.
Yeah, this story definitely is it. So that is what we will be reviewing later today. Yeah, very interesting story, Sex and Violence, and then
I know when you saw like, oh, it's written by Peter David, and it's by George Perez. Okay, you probably started reading thinking it'd be one thing, and be like, I didn't think it would be this.
Yeah, so definitely was. So I look forward to reviewing it. Yeah, tonight, and then, but of course, before that, we got the regular schedule with the comic book news. We got Fear and Insanity. Dan is the man with the 5 statements for right or wrong. We have random panel of the week with Captain America doing something very out of the norm for him, and we have someone joining the F list. He's, as they would say, and it's always saying Philadelphia, cultivating mass.
Okay.
Yeah. Instead of just saying fat. But all right, so that'll be when we get to the F list. What were we saying?
I said that is a great show. Hey, Mr. Keith, thanks for joining us.
Hey, Mr. Keith. Yeah, so glad to have everyone joining us today, and then see what we will be having. Somebody else join us too, Richard.
Hey, what's going on, Richard?
Although he only said hi, Mr. Keith, he didn't say hi to us. No.
So, Richard, I sent something to you. If it's not there already, it should be there in the next day or two.
Well, speaking of receiving things, it's mail call for me today, and I got the Silver Surfer Epic Collection Freedom.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
Which issues is that?
What was it?
Which issues is that?
So it's the Silver Surfer issues 1 through 14 from the volume 3. Yeah, it's from 1 through 14, and then also it has some parts from Super Villain Classics #1, Epic Illustrated #1, some Marvel Fanfare 51, and then there's a Silver Surfer story from 1982.
Yeah, you know how many? That's volume 3. That was the longest running Surfer series.
Yep.
And volume 1 only ran
18.
What is it?
18.
18. Yeah, 18 issues. You know how many issues volume 2 was?
Over 100. Or what? 125 something.
1.
Oh, okay. Because 2. Okay, 2 is the one that's in there. That's the 1982 one, and then 3 is the big one.
They consider it's that one shot that John Byrne did for the Silver Surfer is considered Silver Surfer Volume 2, even though it wasn't even a series. It was literally yes. That's considered. When they list the volumes, that's considered Silver Surfer Volume 2. Oh, you're welcome, Richard. You're welcome. Let me shoot me a message or something, or let me know in the chat on one of the shows when you get it. I think you'll enjoy it. I think we already said what it was. It's a brown lantern ring. And Sonny, you should be getting one too. I sent two of them to Jamie, one for him and one for you.
Oh man, I'm not gonna get that one in a long time. I should be seeing Jamie soon though.
Yeah, he said
remind him. I'm gonna
be to the convention because he had me send him like all the lanyards and the wristbands and stuff.
Nice, yeah. So I'll be like, hey, don't forget that. Don't forget my ring.
But yeah. Anyway, so they had the first volume of Silver Surfer, and then that one shot came out, and even though it was a one shot, and it was never intended to be a series, they still, for whatever reason, considered that Silver Surfer Volume 2.
Oh yeah, weird.
And then Volume 3, the one that ran for 100 some issues, that is what I think a lot of people associate with the character. When it had like Jim Starlin and Ron Mars writing it, and Ron Lim did the pencils for such a bulk of the series.
Yeah, a lot of my favorite Silver Surfer stories were in this run. I was a little mixed up when I opened it. I was like, wait, I was like, that issue 3 is different. I forgot that it's the first volume that has like the first appearance of Mephisto. Then number 4 has the Silver Surfer Thor cover. I was like, oh yeah, I forgot, but still excited to read. I always love my Silver Surfer comics.
I just saw some, and it's one of those, internet. Yeah, the Ron Lim run. Yeah, that's when I think of the Silver Surfer, that's the surfer I think of is Ron Lim that drew it. But so yeah, it's the rumor, and it's a bunch of people that have broken this rumor. So we'll see that Keanu Reeves is going to play the Silver Surfer in Avengers Doomsday. I'm like, yeah, it seems like something that somebody just made up, and then a bunch of other people just decided to run with.
Yeah, fan casting. So, because like I said, I haven't heard about any of that other. Like, I haven't heard about it from anything else as opposed to right now.
I mean, I think he'd do a decent job as long as he doesn't have, doesn't show up with the Silver Surfer with a beard.
But then, he wouldn't. I don't think he'd be able to. Like I said, a movie or 2, but I don't know about how long he could keep up with playing the character.
Well, someone like the Silver Surfer, they're going to do all that in motion capture.
Yeah.
What's up, Boosh? Good to see you.
Boosh.
Yeah, they would do that role, I imagine, the way they did it in the second Fantastic Four movie, which was the only good part of that movie. Other than looking at Jessica Alba for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
But because where they did the motion capture for the Silver Surfer, then they had is it Lawrence Fishburne that did his voice?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he was going to do Galactus's voice, and then they said, no, he could be the voice of Silver Surfer.
Like, no, we're going to make Galactus a cloud.
Yeah.
What? Why?
That's why he's on that. That's why that Cloud Galactus made it to the F list a few months ago.
Yeah. Yeah, because that's how they did him in the Ultimate Universe, too. No. Even though I wasn't a huge fan of the new Fantastic Four movie, I did think they did a good job with Galactus.
Yeah, it was probably maybe my favorite thing seeing finally Galactus is
the way that it's supposed to be.
Yeah. Yes, I enjoyed that. And speaking of movies, I think Thunderbolts is on Disney Plus now. Have you gotten to see it yet?
I saw it. I saw it in the theaters. I saw it the day it came out in the theaters, like that Friday. That Friday night, I enjoyed it. I thought it was excellent.
Cool. I'm looking forward to watching it.
I'd say there's been 4 since Endgame came out. I'd say there's been 4 really good Marvel movies. I'd say it was Spider-Man and Doctor Strange, the Deadpool Wolverine movie, and then Thunderbolts. And all the other movies are either the new Captain America was okay, it was good, but it wasn't great. And then, the Marvels was just kind of eh.
We got some comments. Let's see. First, Richard comes in with 23 for Team NT for her Variant Insanity. And then he says, let's see.
Oh, yeah.
I think we're both in at the same time. I'll let you hit it.
I will handle the chat.
Yes. Yeah, True Codex is the best channel on YouTube, and I agree. And Bruce says, happy to be here as long as there's no Sunny Toy Torture sessions. I promise you there won't be. Victor says F list equals Lobo. Not cool to kick a cat, Lobo. I don't like that.
Yes, hashtag justice for Dexstar.
Yes.
You should just have that made as a t-shirt, Richard. You should just have a t-shirt that just says hashtag justice for Dexstar. And nothing else on it, no elaboration, and just wear it around and see how many people outside of Comic World just go what is that?
Yeah, and then it'd be guy, kick the cat, and you'll get some people backing you up. Yeah, so Dan.
Oh, I have a mail call.
You got a mail call.
Well, I showed it off on I almost called it After Dark. On Comics Unleashed on Saturday, but I will show it again because I did get it in the mail. And I am happy with it, and it is fantastic, and I'm so happy to have it in my collection. Captain Marvel Adventures issue 130 from Fawcett Publications. March 1952.
Ooh,
My first
52. There's me, and now you, big.
My first, I don't want to get too much glare on it. There we go.
Yeah.
First Golden Age book in my collection.
Nice. So you said it was from 1952?
1952, yeah.
Nice,
So I've been wanting a Golden Age for a while. That was one of my collecting goals for the year. Follow a lot of stuff on eBay, though I kept thinking I'll probably wait till Baltimore, but I still put stuff on my watch list on eBay, and every once in a while there's a good deal. And you should do that. You guys should do. You could do it too, Booze. Maybe that'll be the next Codex shirt. But yeah, I was super happy to get it. It was a really, really good price. It's like $55. After going back and forth with the seller on him sending me an offer, and I said, well, how about this? And he said, how about this? And we went back and forth like 3 or 4 times, and then settled on that. And like, all right. So
I think it's a good deal.
$55 for that. I mean, it's and it's graded too. So you'd spend almost $55 if I had this book raw and just sent it to get graded. It would cost me almost that much anyways. So, and I wanted to be, I've said too, you could go out and find a Golden Age book that, if you just don't care what it is, but I wanted to be a character that I liked. And I thought it was a fantastic cover. I am a Captain Marvel fan. And you can get, his Golden Age books. You can get a lot of like mid-grade, Fawcett Captain Marvel books for like around $50. If you want Golden Age books and you want to get some. So I still want to get a DC Golden Age. I still want to get there was no Marvel then, but I still want to get like a Timely or an Atlas one too. But I'm super happy to have that. Yeah, thanks, Booze. I love it. And too, when you're getting one graded too, it's a great cover. It's got to be a good cover because that's all you're seeing.
Yeah, good point. Okay, looks like we had a good mail call this past week, Dan. So now let's hope to put on a great show for everybody. Are you ready to jump on?
Yes.
Let's do this.
Apache, jump on it. Jump on it.
Well, there's that. And now and I'll give you this. Well, technically, it is not Uncle Gary and Mike. It is Dan who is joining me today on the Codex podcast. But I'll let Sal the
it's because Sal is on vacation.
Yeah, Sal is on vacation, so that's what gives Sal the pass. I was like, wait, did he change it? And then I looked at it and said, yeah, Mike and Gary. So, okay. As you know, I'm your host, Sonny Kruger. I'm joined by my co-host, Dan Kelly. Now we are on to the official show of the Codex podcast. Today we'll be reviewing Sachs and Violens, one that Dan has picked out for us. We'll start off the show with the usual routine with the comic book news, then get to Variant Insanity. Then Dan is the man with the 5 statements for right or wrong. Then we will get to the random panel of the week. Captain America is acting very out of sorts and he's eating his shield. And then we will get to somebody else who likes to eat a lot, and that is we get to the F list. Black Mass joins the F list. Then we'll get to that review of Sachs and Violens.
That's racist.
So here we go. I'll start us off with the rundown.
Before when you're there, your family.
Who says sales at the Olive Garden?
It's funny. I did ask him like, hey, what are you doing on vacation? Do you guys have like plans? Because they went to the beach. I was like, do you have plans or just kind of take it as you go? He's like, yeah, just kind of take it as we go. He's like, I might go to the haunted house. I went, oh yeah, if you do, maybe you'll run into the Gabagool.
We know Dan's gonna want to eat. He's gonna want to. No, Sal's gonna want to eat that. Yeah, let's say gabagool because on the salad. So we know Sal, like I said, he's on vacation, probably enjoying his time at Olive Garden. But we're still gonna try to put forward. We're still gonna try to put on a good show for you all. I'll start us off with the rundown. Vin Diesel has let it be known that there is a project being made, there's a movie being made, and it is a Groot movie. He let it slip. He mentioned it in a podcast that he was doing, that he was being interviewed in, that the movie will be called The Arbor King, and that is about Groot making it back to his home planet of Planet X. Also, some other news. Well, that's Marvel. Now onto the DC side. James Gunn has mentioned that he is working on a secret project, and it's been mentioned. He's mentioned it's a secret series. He hasn't mentioned who it's about, what characters, hasn't really hinted, but that there's a secret series they are working on. So many possibilities of what they could be. And then we jump back to Marvel, and that is that Marvel's coming up with a new way of making some sales, and they are having the blind bags. Before, a few months ago, the comic book Battle Beast, they were doing blind bags, and it was very popular. People were getting a lot, trying to get the different covers. Now Marvel is going to start doing that in December when it starts off with the Ultimate Endgame #1.
DC's doing it this week with Batman 1.
So they're doing Batman. So all these places, the blind bags are taking over. And then somebody who's not making some money is Diamond. And as we mentioned, Diamond has to act against each publisher when it comes to, before they can liquidate their comic books. They're up against it a lot. They've, since filing Chapter 11 for bankruptcy, they're having a lot of legal problems. Yeah, so. Dan, which is some of the news you'd like to jump on to and pay more attention to first? Or get more.
I guess why don't we just start at the beginning? What was the first one you said?
So Vin Diesel mentioning the Groot movie, The Arbor King.
Do we all really think that they're going to do a full feature-length theatrical Groot movie?
How's the dialogue going to be?
I kind of doubt it. I feel like it's probably going to be something that goes right to Disney Plus, the way those little Groot shorts were. Which, hey man, those things were fantastic. If you,
I like those. Yeah,
they're funny. My daughter loved them. So
it's a good 3-4 minutes. So it's not like if you didn't give it, okay, you lost 3-4 minutes.
I feel like
a full-length movie is a lot, though.
Yeah, I feel like if this is and stuff gets announced all the time that never gets made. Blade, Eternals 2. To name a couple. So I feel like, if this actually does get made, I feel like it'll probably be one of those, one of those specials like Werewolf by Night or the.
Yeah, that was, I like that.
Let's see, one that they already did.
Yeah, Bruce, I don't mind blind bags. What was that?
Well, yeah, the blind bags too. Marvel, the Battle Beast wasn't the one that started it. Marvel did it. God, it wasn't months and months ago. They did it a while ago. It was something on Whatnot where they had the blind bags, and it wasn't for new books. They just had reprints and foil covers of reprints and stuff that were in them. That they had. It was like the Red Hulk, the Ed McGuinness, Jeff Loeb book, the Red Hulk cover. Excuse me. You could get a foil of that, and I know that was one of them. I want to say they did it with some X-Men books. But that was just reprints of older stuff. And then Battle Beast did it new. And, now DC's jumping on it where they said they're doing it with, I guess Batman's not coming out this week, maybe next week. I forget when, but, they're doing it with Batman. They're doing it with, I know they've said it for other books and now Marvel too. And
yeah. So what do you feel? Let's see. Mr. Keith says Vin Diesel is the one spearheading this, and we'll try to include Groot in the next Fast and Furious. Hey, family.
It'll be Groot there. Vin Diesel. You'll have Vin Diesel and you'll have Groot. And you'll have Vin Diesel be like, family. And then Groot. I am Groot.
You just gave away half the dialogue of the whole movie, Dan.
Yeah. No. They're not writing Shakespeare here.
Yeah.
Family. But Yeah, the blind bag thing to me, it's like the very definition of FOMO, right? Like, oh, you don't know what
You're
you know.
missing
But
out,
then
yeah.
again, what?
Oh yes, like you said, yep, the fear of missing out. Yeah.
But then again, too, with the uncertainty of it, it's not really that different from when you buy trading cards.
Yeah.
Baseball cards, football, the old Intel Marvel cards, Magic cards, whatever. You don't know what you're getting. You're hoping that you're getting something good. You might be getting a pack full of crap.
I just keep getting Jigglypuffs all over.
Yeah, you don't know. Be like, God damn it, another Pidgey.
Yeah.
But so it's kind of like, I equate it to kind of being like that. The difference is when you buy a pack of cards, you get a whole stack of cards. To maybe get something good. With the comic, you're getting you get one chance, you get one thing.
Yeah, that's the one thing I don't like about it at all.
So I mean, I said this with the Battle Beast one. If I would have gone into the shop, and not really having a huge interest in the Battle Beast series, I've been like, oh, Kirkman, Stegman. I like their, or not Stegman. Who's the artist? Shit, what's his name? I'm blanking on his name now. I feel dumb.
Let's see. For Invincible or for Battle Beast?
Well, it was the artist from Invincible that did Battle Beast.
Yeah, because I was going to say
Ryan Otley. I've been like, I like Kirkman.
Yeah.
I like Otley. I haven't read much Invincible. I've read a little bit. I've seen the cartoon. If I would have walked in and they would have had the blind bags on the shelf, I might have said, all right, whatever. I'll roll the dice. I'll get one. The Batman book coming out, I did that. I was like, I'll roll the dice. I'll get one. I'll get one blind bag, and maybe it'll be something cool. And if it's a cover that I don't like, it'll just go in the buy or in the trade / giveaway / sell box. So, I'll roll the dice on one. But the people that are going and buying like 50 copies and 100 copies, like, you're gonna have, they're gonna have. You think that we have these false inflated sales numbers now for people that go and buy the A cover and like the B and the C cover or something? Do you know what the false sale numbers, the inflated sale numbers for these books are going to be when you have people buying 5, 10, 15, however many of the blind bag trying to get that one cover?
Yeah, I like in our chat when I put it on there in sale, it's like, oh great, another A cover. Because yeah, you can tell that's gonna happen. I think like you, like I said, maybe I get one just because I kind of be happy with. Like I don't have any covers, so whatever one I'm gonna get is gonna be new. But to buy it over and over, it's gonna be, I think, a lot of disappointment when you, like I said, if you get 10 and you get 7 of the same cover.
Well, it's not just that too. Like if you're buying 20 of them, hoping to get that big ratio variant, and you get it, so you could flip it. How much money are you really making because you spent the money to get 20 copies of it?
Yeah.
Are you gonna get make enough back on flipping this book that you're gonna have to flip right away before people stop caring about it? It just, and then we're gonna see it. Just wait, you're gonna start seeing stacks and stacks of Battle Beast 1 in dollar bins for decades to come. Because what are people gonna do with all of these?
Yeah, it's gonna be somebody who doesn't even care about, like, hey, I guess I'll just buy this. They'll happen to open it and get like the super rare variant cover. Be like, I think this is good.
Well, I know the Batman ones, it's like there's all the variant covers that you could just buy, and then the blind bags, I think, are, if I remember right, they're all foil versions of the covers.
Oh, okay.
And then there's some other one that's coming out where they're not even saying, like, they're not even releasing what the covers are that are in the blind bags. Like, you have to wait until people open them up and get them. And I was like, what if you get somebody that like doesn't have social media and and they get the copy that's like the one of one, and nobody ever sees it because they're like, oh, that's cool, I'll put it in the collection. I don't have Twitter, I don't have TikTok or Instagram.
Yeah, I believe that one is also the let's see, Liz says, gee, I throw off the Catwoman numbers because I get all the variants. It's okay, Liz. Sal does it with
the Battle Beast one. Apparently, like, you could figure out what the books were because the Battle Beast issue 1 was like a thicker book, and then they had the reprint of like the Marvel Team Up and the Invincible that was his first appearance, but they're not as thick. So apparently, you could just feel the weight of it and know, like, all right, this is Battle Beast, or no, this is one of the other ones.
Mm. And then, yeah, when you were talking about the ones we don't know, that's some of the Ultimate Endgame. So some of those are going to be regular variants, and some like this, because they've mentioned a whole bunch of those. And then they said some of those are going to be, like you said, where they're not going to put out pictures online or anything like that to reveal what it is.
That would be cool.
Yeah, make them digest or ash candy sized, and you can get 4 books a bag.
Remember when they used to sell those packs at like Walmart and and like convenience stores and stuff, where it'd be like the sealed bag where there'd be like 5 comics or 10 comics or something
those
in
are
it.
good.
You could see the one on the front and the one on the back, and that was it. And you'd go and kind of like try and push up the ones behind them and see, like, oh, I think that looks like the top of a Spider-Man logo. Oh, that might be a Batman logo. I can't tell.
Good stuff. I like that. Fun times.
But yeah, you're going to start seeing a lot of these in dollar bins. It's going to be funny too. There's going to be someone in like 40 years, some kid that where their grandmother's going to go like, oh, your grandfather passed away. He liked comic books. Do you want his comics? They're like, yeah. Give it to the kid, and the kid's going to be like, oh my God, 80 copies of Battle Beast 1. I'm rich. The first issue of it. And they're going to look online and be like, oh, F you, Grandpa.
Why did he get so many of these?
Why did you buy so many? I would just give, if it was me, I mean, like I've told people before, I just, I get after Free Comic Book Day is over, I wait a week or two. And when they have all the extra stuff, the shop always lets me take like a big stack of them. And I got a stack here. I just have them there and pass them out on Halloween when I'm, I still give out candy, but I give that too. And the kids always get excited. I guess if I had 80 copies of Battle Beast 1, I'd be giving those out.
Dan, if I lived closer to you, I'd go trick or treating, and you wouldn't even know it's me.
You know what it's going to be too? It's going to be those people that sell those like mystery bundles where it's like, you spend this much.
One issues,
and you get 10 comics or 15. They're just going to be doing that and be like Battle Beast 1 in every one of these.
Yeah, because technically, like I said, it's number 1. So yeah, like I said, the grab bags. So we'll see what goes on with those. We'll see if especially on Sean Comics Unleashed, when you guys get some of those comic books, you'll show off what you got. And maybe if I get one of those bags or something, maybe I'll do a mail call, or maybe on the pre-show or something. I'll open it live.
Well, it's funny, John.
If I get a really good one,
the guy that runs the shop I go to, John. And I didn't know that the Battle Beast thing was actually in shops. I just kind of assumed it was a whatnot thing. And then, reading about it, I was like, oh, they actually were in shops. I went into the shop. I guess it was that week, and they only had a few of them. They sold them out like that. And I asked John, I was like, oh, and somebody came in and asked if they had like the Battle Beast blind bags. John was like, no, we sold out. I was like, oh man. I was like, oh, I didn't realize they were in shops. Did you get a bunch? He goes, no, he's like, the Invincible stuff really doesn't sell that well. He said, we didn't get a lot, but he told me there was a guy that came in and a couple hours after the shop opened and asked him, like, do you have any of the Battle Beast blind bags? And he said, what happened to my screen? And he said, no, we sold out. And he's like, what? Why didn't you buy more? And John looked at him and said, I've never seen you before in my life. You've never come and bought any Invincible stuff here. Like, go away. And it was funny because even hey,
Bruce says he's going to Dan's house in Halloween.
Hey,
too.
you know what? All are welcome. I'm not one of those D-bags that when a teenager comes, they're like, you're too old to trick or treat. I'm like, you could be out doing a lot worse stuff right now. Have some candy, have a comic, have a good night.
I really did that once, and she was like, like one little Snickers. And I was like, this person. I was like, you're giving out one little cheap thing.
But yeah, and I'd be in the shop, and for like a week or two after that, people would still be coming, open the door and lean in, like like it was like in Clerks. You guys got that Battle Beast thing? And be like, the Battle Beast blind bag? No. All right, and then just leave. Screw you, people. That book came out 2 weeks ago. They don't have it.
I might just have to get one just to have it in the collection because of all the stories behind Battle Beast #1. And like you said, years from now, who's really going to care?
Yeah.
about 50 different covers of Battle Beast.
Yeah. Like I said, I put down, I was like, all right, I'll roll the dice to get one Batman because, Batman is one of my favorite characters anyways. So, I'll try it.
Yeah.
But the people that are going and buying stacks of them just, yeah.
Have fun.
We
Like you
all
said, hey, you
collect
can give
how
them
we
one on
want.
Halloween.
We all collect how we want. I'm not going to tell you how to spend your money, but, I feel like if I was dropping that much money on comics instead of dropping the amount of money it would take to buy 20 copies or 50 copies of a blind bag at price, I'm like, I can go out and get a pretty nice Silver Age book for that amount of money.
Or even, hey, look at the one you just got, the Golden Age you got. Yeah.
Yeah.
The candy
Hey, the kids always, they always dig it when they come by and I give them, I have this candy out and I'm like, hey, do you want a comic? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, here, pick out what you want. Take a couple if you want.
Yeah. All right, Dan, then let's see. When it comes to James Gunn, when talking about the Secret Series, Alex said we don't know which one yet, but it's set to go along with, the first phase, the DCEU, the Gods and Monsters, like other shows going to come out. Waller is going to come out. They're working on it. Lanterns is already wrapped filming, and that's set to come out next year. And then the other shows, Paradise Lost and Booster Gold, that should be good. So
yeah, Nathan Fillion said for Lanterns that he's dropped more F-bombs in doing that show than he's ever done in any role that he's had.
Wow. Interesting. I wonder, is he in the show or is it just backstage?
No, he's in the show. I don't know how much.
Well, I know he's in the show, but I meant the F-bombs.
Oh, yeah.
The character or just him himself.
Yeah, I'm intrigued about the secret DC show because I saw James Gunn said something like it was they didn't announce it because it would be too easy to copy or rip off, or I forget how he phrased it. Which, to me, that's like that's a shot at Marvel. Be like, we don't want them copying this before us. So I'll be interested to, with him saying that, I'd be interested to see what it is and what it is that's like been filmed in secret. I know, people speculate that they're going to do a Jimmy Olsen show after how many people like Superman, though I haven't heard anybody mention that as being this. I have heard people mention, oh, maybe this is a Mr. Terrific show. And because people talked about that after Superman, like, I feel like when it gets announced, it's going to be something that's not on anybody's radar.
Yeah, I think just different characters. Yeah. Somebody they were not really expecting, or at least right now, not expecting.
Yeah. I think, and you think like, all right, well, if you really wanted to put time into it, like, no, the only clue he gave that I saw, Booge, was that he said they didn't announce it because it would be too easy to copy. So which makes me start thinking like, all right, what is it that DC could do that's, early in this new cinematic universe that would be easy for Marvel to copy? So I don't know. Like maybe Elseworlds, but Marvel already did What If, so I don't think it would be that.
Let's see. Richard says cooking with Mrs. Kent.
So yeah, I don't know.
No,
it kind of makes me think like, I have a feeling it's going to be announced and it's going to be like, oh, I didn't see that coming at all.
Yeah, somebody we're not really expecting. Like I said, at least right now. It's about Diamond and all their troubles. Dan, would you like to go more into detail, or would you like for me to read a little something?
You go ahead.
All right, let me read a little bit from Bleeding Cool. And it was saying, that. All right, I don't want to read the whole thing, but okay, I'll try to get fast here. Bleeding Cool specifically reported that the ad hoc committee's motion to stay against Diamond had been granted, which meant that the liquidation motion had been halted until the matter moved into adversary proceedings, and that Diamond, the debtor, would now have to raise a legal case against each and every consignment vendor, publisher, and manufacturer whose stock they hold on consignment individually in adversary proceedings if they wanted to liquidate any of those consigned comic books, which, given that there are hundreds of publishers involved, might well be unprofitable for the Diamond debtors to target the smaller ones, even if they won. It is certainly enough to present further defense and delay the liquidation for another day, as Diamond will have to fight each and every publisher and get a final judgment that they own the consigned comics being sold. Yeah.
So,
No,
Mr. Keith, while you were saying, Mr. Keith said probably a Metamorpho show. I don't know. I feel like it's not going to be anybody we saw in Superman. And
I think
the
they
only one I
mentioned
can think of is,
yeah.
you know, like maybe if they did a crypto show or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a whole lot of legalese for basically, what is it, that Diamond's just sitting on all these books, and I guess it's just trying to figure out who has to pay for them, who's going to get the money, you know.
Yeah, I think it's pretty much over for them.
Yeah, Diamond is toast. The only hope Diamond has is if somebody like Todd McFarlane buys them. Like I heard, you know, people talking about he was interested in it. That the only hope at this point they have is if somebody else buys them and starts out fresh. And even then, it's gonna be an uphill climb.
Yes.
I'm just wondering, like, you know, what are these books that they're sitting on? Like, how many months old are they? And because I mean, I take it that's what it means, right? Is, you know, it's when they're liquidated, it's who's getting the money.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah, so we'll see if anything else happens, if Diamond finally calls it quits and says we're done or not. But yeah,
that would be cool.
and Bruce says, yeah, Spectre animated thing. Yeah,
That was
I think Uncle Gary would like that. Yeah. You know, he's the big Spectre fan. But yeah, there's many possibilities. And right now, when James Gunn says stuff like that, I think he knows that it kind of gets people talking. And
you know what? It would be cool if it was like a Sergeant Rock thing, because that would be something that would be kind of easy for Marvel to copy. Like, oh, we'll just do a World War II show with some of the CGC. CGC's got their own problems, man. They can't manage their own shit, much less someone else's. But yeah, a Sergeant Rock one would be cool, because, you know, there's the talk about the Sergeant Rock movie. And,
canceled,
you know, somebody asked James Gunn about it. I saw something a week or two ago where he was like, yeah, it's in a good place. And yeah, maybe he's like, yeah, it's in a good place because it's done.
Yeah.
I would
maybe they were thinking a movie, and then they said, I just turn that into a pilot. See how it does, yeah.
I mean, if DC's gonna do it and say like we're doing Band of Brothers with Sergeant Rock, I'm in.
Yeah, I'd be into watching that. Yeah, we shall see. What about a Dead Man series? I think that'd be pretty interesting and just completely different out of the norm. Many possibilities. Give Saint Walker a show.
You know, or they could do something like Phantom Stranger. Or you know what would be really cool that they could do that would also fall into the category of something Marvel that would be easy for them to copy, is if they did like a House of Mystery, House of Secret show or something, where it's like an anthology show, and almost like how Tales from the Crypt used to be. Like, you know, here's the character that introduces the story and then does the outro, and then it's just a new story with a new, you know, and it's a different story, different cast, everything each week.
And people love horror, so it would be popular.
Yeah.
Or super popular.
And as an anthology, that would be something that would fall under the category of, hey, this is, you know, this would be easy for someone else to copy.
Yeah, and also you can get a lot of big name actors and things, because Bruce says, yeah, Nightwing or Red Hood.
Aren't they doing that? Aren't they doing that Robin's animated series? That's going to be like Nightwing and Robin or something, or Nightwing and Red Hood.
Yeah, like I said, with the horror series, it would be. Whiskey says he's going to do Guardians of the Galaxy 4 at DC just to see Marvel lose it.
Resurrection Man would be cool.
Yeah, so with horror stuff, you can get a lot of different characters or a lot of different big actors and actresses.
Hey, Richard, who would win in a fight? Who would win in a fight, Streaky the Cat or Dexstar?
I put my money on Dexstar. All right, then, guys. But I think we've gone through the comic book news. Did you see any last comments on the news before we jump on some other stuff, Dan?
No, I don't think so.
All right. Before we talk about some insane things, let's talk about some award shows. You know, the Codex Station is in the top 5 of 5 categories in the CBC Awards. Look at that. Best live stream for Comics Unleashed from the Codex Station. Best informative content, the Codex Station. Best live stream, Comics Unleashed, the Codex Station.
Oh, Richard says Dexstar would win.
Good pick. And best entertaining content, the Codex Station. And then our very own guy who's on vacation, Sal the Slab Guy from the Codex Station, is up for most engaging host.
Look at that.
I guess he's on their vacation, right?
He's up for an award and he just dips out of town.
He's already taking vacation. Sal, it's not over yet. So make sure to get those votes in. Yeah, the CBC Awards. We all appreciate and thank everybody for getting us. First of all, many of us were nominated. And then on top of it, we have 5 categories for the Codex Station. Yeah, you guys are top 5 finalists. So thank you, everyone. And Richard said he'd love to see them fight. Yeah, Streaky the Cat and Dexstar. Bruce said Tom go Rajah Jackson on them. Man, Richard says, yeah, hashtag justice for Sonny's beard. And I agree, Richard.
Well, you're just going to have to make your beard more of a focal point in the podcast for the next year. You have to find some kind of segment that has to do with Sonny's beard. And
you can't go big. I can go big, but I don't want to go big. I don't, I like some ZZ Top songs, but I don't want to look like ZZ Top. I just.
Maria doesn't want you to grow it long.
She likes it like this, but yeah, she doesn't want it big, and neither do I. Sometimes I think about shaving it, but no, I don't.
All right. But that was about the 41. I gotta write that down. 41 minute and 20-second mark. She doesn't. For a nice outtake where you said she doesn't want it big, and neither do I. All right, I'm gonna write that down. 41.
Okay, yeah.
All right. We're gonna
talk about the paired.
We're gonna make a nice outtake of that. Thank you.
Okay.
Oh, Booja's got a good idea. Make it glitter. You could bedazzle it.
Yeah, there we go. Maybe for a specific episode. Maybe when we're reviewing a certain comic, they may go with it. Maybe a Dazzler comic. Make it dazzling.
Oh, did you see that? That thing with everybody, the FOMO thing with the Dazzler Dr. Doom cover?
I did not see that. So what was it?
So there's a guy on Instagram, and I follow him. This is Josh Comics, and the guy always does these videos like, "Hey, it's Aaron from Josh Comics." And he does one each day where he just asks a question, and then people, leave their answers in the comments, and he always ends it by going, "Say no to FOMO," and thanks for watching. So he posted something one day that he just made up, and he admitted it like the next day. It might have even been the same day. Sonny's beard 2026. You're gonna have to make a slogan for it, like a presidential run.
Yes.
A beard in every garage and a mutilated toy figure in every kitchen. But he did this thing where he was like, for Taylor Swift playing Dazzler, and he said he doesn't even own the comic. He said he just Googled Dazzler Dr. Doom cover, and it came up with like Dazzler issue 3 or something. And he just posted a picture of it, and he's like, "Oh, if Taylor Swift plays Dazzler in Avengers Doomsday, this," and then all of a sudden this book started selling for like 40, 50, 60 bucks on eBay.
Oh,
and
wow.
Then he came out and said, he's like, "I just made this up because I thought it was funny." He's like, "I always say no to FOMO. Like, I don't even own this book, and all of you people are going crazy over this."
Wow. Taylor Swift says vote for Sonny's beard next year.
Well, she's engaged now, so she's got other things to worry about.
But I'm more important.
Yeah, Dazzler.
Which is Dazzler 3.
I saw a meme that said for them being engaged, it said the prenup. It said the prenup for this is going to be so thick it's going to be longer than any book Travis Kelce has ever read.
I did see that too. Yeah, that was pretty funny. Yeah. I'm not too sure if I saw if you posted it or somehow
I posted. Yeah, I posted on the meme page.
Booge says, "I'm not an animal," with some lines from The Elephant Man, movie that is in my collection. It's all pretty insane, Dan. So you know what that means. It's time for some variant insanity. You know the rules. Take a guess as to which comic book had the most covers this week. So, Dan, how about you?
Let me think. Well, Richard already.
Yeah, Richard was with
23
for TMNT.
I am not an animal. Could be your beard slogan. What was it that came out this week? So what was Richard's? It was TMNT for
23.
23. That was his guess.
What was his guess?
I'm going to say.
It was. Mr. Keith says Silverhawks.
Oh, that's a good guess. That's a good guess. I might go with that. Yeah, screw it. I'll go with Silverhawks.
All right, and yeah, we said Richard had TMNT. Boosh is Thundercats 24. Lee comes in with Black Cat 16.
Was there a Black Cat book that came out this week?
I don't know. I can't tell. Can't tell until I give that answer. All right, Dan, so you were going with Silverhawks?
Yeah, I'll go with Silverhawks as well.
And 23. And Bruce says, obviously, 80s cartoons rule. Okay, so I'll give you the countdown of the 10, the 9, the 8, the 7, the 6, the 5, the 4, 3, the 2, the 1. The comic book this week, they had the most covers. Richard, you had TMNT. You're like right there. You're kind of right. But it is actually TMNT, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Shredder. Number 1 from IDW. So
I'm going to say 25 covers.
Okay, going with 25. And Shredder was somewhere all around 20. Well, Liz said 16 for Black Cat. Mr. Keith at 26. Boosh at 24. Richard had 23. You're all too low.
Oh.
It's higher than anybody has guessed so far today.
All right, and I'm going to say 35. I'll add 10 to it.
All right, everybody.
Well, you know they're doing the live action movie with Henry Cavill that they say now they're not going to put on in the theaters. It's only going to be on Amazon, which seems like a waste.
Yeah. All right. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Blast off.
This week, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder issue number 1 had a total of 42 covers.
Damn.
And that's Boosh just came out with 52. Yep, so it was 42 covers. It seemed like it had been a little while since we had seen some TMNT, but there we go. It came in. Shredder issue number 1 with 42 covers. Even though he was on vacation, that guy who's up for the most engaging host, Sal the Slab guy, still got me the information as to the, what comic book had the most variants this week. And that was TMNT, Shredder number 1.
Yeah, I don't think they're either.
Oh, yeah.
It's not made yet. They're either filming it now or they're getting ready to film it.
Working on that Voltron movie. Oh, yeah, Mr. Keith. Yeah, I was asking, when they decide these variant covers, is there any real finish reading that. Is there any real coordination between the artists in case any two are too similar?
Well, when they do covers, they don't just tell an artist, hey, do an alternate cover for Batman. They're like, okay, cool, and then just send them something. So, anything that they do, they have to send it in to get, to editorial to get approval. He is a nice guy.
Yeah.
He's our own special meatball. They have to send it into editorial, who either says yes, no, or like, hey, change this and then do that. Because when I did that interview with Todd Nauck a couple months ago, he's doing that whole series of alternate covers, the iconic ones, and he actually had one come out this week for The Thing, which looks really cool. And I asked him, I said, when you're doing these, like, obviously, if you're doing a Spider-Man book, it's going to be Spider-Man. If you're doing The Thing, it's going to be The Thing. But I was, said on some of these books, like Fantastic Four or Avengers, or some of these X-Men team books, do you get to pick the character, or do they tell you? And he said, no, they tell me, and then he, sketches out and sends it to him, and they, say yes or no. Because he said for the Sprite one, they're the ones that told him, like, we want it to be that obnoxious costume that she had.
Yeah, like Boo said about Sal, he's a real good fella.
But yeah, so they'll send them in, they'll send the the rough sketches in to get approval. So I'm sure if editorial sees one, they might say, hey, we got a guy that did something too close to this. Pick something else.
Yeah, Boosh, I hope Sal wins that host thing too.
Yeah.
He's got my vote. But all right, Dan. So now it's time to put you to more work. You're the man with the 5 statements for right or wrong today.
So they're on my phone, and I just tossed my phone to the side. All right. Oh yeah, you're welcome, Mr. Keith. Anytime, because he said the only one that he didn't have to get approval for was there was this one cover he did that had like 120 characters on it or something, and it was like, I think it was the Galactus one where it's like Galactus real big. In fact, I think it might have been that. It was one cover we had a ton of them on there, and there's like one big central character, and he had asked the editor, he's like, look, since I'm going to be doing this and there's just going to be this ridiculous amount of characters on it, can I just start doing it as opposed to all this? And they were like, yeah, just go for it. But generally they have to, sketch it out and send it to them. And sometimes they'll sketch out like 3 or 4 or 5 different ones and send them in and say, pick the one. So, all right, right or wrong. Number 1. Marvel and DC movies will never again reach the box office totals that they once had.
I say wrong.
Now, I'm not, to clarify, that doesn't mean that I'm not saying like they'll never have like one huge movie. I'm just saying, like, overall, yeah, there might be one to pop up here that, like, overall, they're never going to reach those huge box office totals that they had pre-COVID. All right. Number 2, The Punisher will have a new ongoing series within the next year.
Right.
All right. For number 1, Mr. Keith says right.
Richard says wrong.
Booze says wrong.
So for number 2, I'll say right.
All right. Number 3, what we were just talking about with the blind bags. The blind bag craze will die out within 2 years. And again, not saying that they'll never stop, that they'll never do another one, but that the craze of them doing a whole lot of them will die out within 2 years.
I say right. Like, it's the popular thing now, but I think it will die out.
So let's see. Number 2, Richard says right. Booze says right. Mr. Keith says right.
We're on right for that one. And then for your number 3, the blind bags going like out of style within 2 years. I say right.
All right. Number 4, Jim Lee will one day make a return to the X-Men.
Jim Lee? Yes.
That's true. They hate guns and violence, and yet, watch Bambi.
Yeah. Let's see. We got a dang spammer in there.
he gone. All right. Mr. Keith says wrong for number 3. Richard says wrong for number 3. What was it you said for number 4, Sonny?
Wait, number 4 was the...
That Jim Lee will one day make a return to the X-Men.
I said right. I believe he will. That's what we want. I'd like to see.
Right. Booge says right. Richard says right. All right. And the final one. The Code X station will win all of their nominated categories in the CBC Awards.
I say wrong. I hope I'm wrong.
You son of a bitch!
I
have to believe, Sonny. You have to believe in your heart.
I always look for us to deserve it. I believe we all deserve it. But, you know.
Goddamn right.
It's one of those things. If we don't get it, then say, hey, I was right. And if I'm wrong, then good. Let me be wrong. So.
All right. Well, let's go back to number 1 then. Marvel and DC will never reach the box offices that they once had pre-COVID. Keith says right. Richard said wrong. Booze said wrong. And you...
I had also said wrong.
I will say right. Now, as I said, it doesn't mean I don't think that they'll ever... there's not going to be like a big movie. But I think as we've seen in recent years, maybe with a combination of fatigue for it or people just not wanting to follow, have to follow all of these different shows and movies and everything that interconnect, for us comic fans, we're used to it. But for other people, I don't think that the normal amount of moviegoers wants to have to follow all this detailed interconnectivity, and people just aren't going to the movies the way that they did pre-COVID. The prices of everything are more expensive. I took Emily to the movies the other day, and it was just me and her. We saw Ponyo because she loves that movie. 2 tickets, and then the little snack thing that was like 2 drinks, a popcorn, and 2 candies, and it was like almost $90 just for all that. The price of people just not wanting to go out and stuff like that, and the rise of streaming. I just don't think that they're going to overall get those big numbers that they once did.
I think it's more like, because in the future, everything, always goes up in price. I don't think it will be as popular. I don't think the theater will ever be as popular as it was pre-COVID, but I just think with the price-wise, if things becoming so much money, I think eventually that's how they'll get it. So that's why I say wrong.
No, Mr. Keith said, yeah, box office totals are going. Yeah, I mean, look how hyped Superman was, and it did not even do as well as Man of Steel did. And I loved Superman. I thought it was, Liz says right for number 1. I loved it, but it didn't do as well as I think we all thought it would. And Fantastic Four didn't either. And Thunderbolts lost money, which was disappointing because that movie was fantastic. That movie is better than Fantastic Four.
A lot of the movies, they just talk about how much it made. They don't really mention how much or they mention, this much went into making it. They don't mention how much money they spent on marketing, which is somewhere $80 to $100 million. So.
Yeah. Or how much money they got from Coca-Cola saying, hey, you show the Human Torch drinking a nice ice cold Coke and we'll give you this much.
Yeah.
All right.
Number 2.
The Punisher will have a new ongoing series within a year.
We were all saying right for that one.
Boo says
and
right.
I hope so.
Richard says right. Mr. Keith says right. Sonny said right. I will also say right. They've got wrong. Hey, you know what?
Rom-com Punisher. Okay.
Hey, you know what? There's some funny rom-coms. I'm not gonna lie. There's some rom-coms that are laugh out loud funny. I'm a fan of all genres of movie. But yeah, I say he will. I mean, he's got 3 miniseries coming out now. He was in Daredevil Born Again. He's got his own special coming out. He's going to be in the new Spider-Man movie. I think Marvel's got past this, bullshit skull, co-op, by the extreme right, and they're just like, he's ours, and people like him, and yeah, like Richard said, Disney hates guns and violence, but they love money.
Yeah.
So,
yes, we all say so. We all pretty much say yes to a Punisher show.
All right. Well, see, or I'm at comic series.
Oh, you meant to have it on a comic series?
Yeah, his own ongoing comic series.
Oh, I think meant TV show. Well, I'll still say yes for an ongoing series for a comic. Definitely yes.
All right, number 3, the blind bag fad will die out within 2 years. Boo said
right. I think most were saying right.
You said right. Boo said right. Mr. Keith said wrong.
Oh,
Richard said wrong.
oh, okay. So a bit split. How about you, Dan?
Boo says he likes horror, sci-fi, and action. Cheesier the better. No, I like this. I like every genre. Liz said right for number 2 as well. Yeah, I like every genre movie. If it's a good movie, it's a good movie. Yeah. Was it a blind bag thing? I think it will. Yeah. I think after, I don't think it's going to go away. But
Mr. Keith said wrong because he said it will only take it for 2 months.
I think it'll still be there, but I don't think it's going to be as prevalent as it is right now.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one.
All right, number 4, Jim Lee will one day make a return to the X-Men. Right. Who said right? Mr. Keith said right. Richard said right. Sonny said right.
And you say?
Oh, and Liz said right for number 3. I say right as well because you know what? They're going to start doing these Marvel DC crossovers again. Doesn't mean he has to go back to Marvel. Just means he has to draw some X-Men. Who's not going to want to see a Marvel DC crossover and not going to want to see Jim Lee draw the X-Men in it at some point?
Yeah, I think we'll see it. Yeah.
Liz says right. Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it.
I just think, like I said, it's not that he has to leave DC to go there, which, who knows? He might do that one day too. Quesada, isn't running Marvel anymore. He's done some DC stuff. So, what is it? Like a legendary musician, he'll go on one last tour. That's not a bad way to phrase it.
A good way to put it, Mr. Keith.
All right. And number 5. The Kodak Station will win all of their nominated categories in the CBC Awards. Mr. Keith says right. Richard says right. Boo says right or we riot. Sonny said wrong, to which Richard said boo.
Dan, how about you?
Hell yeah, we're going to win.
Honestly, like what Boo said, we win or we riot. I like that one. I think that's the best answer to have.
That can also be a new Codex t-shirt. We win or we riot.
Yeah, so.
I think, Boo's just saying this for the X-Men thing. The money will be right on. Yeah. You imagine the money people would pay to see Lee back with the X-Men, especially if he's drawing them like, with the suits and stuff he did in the 90s.
Here's something bad. Imagine if they only do that with the blind bags to get his covers.
Oh. But yeah, I hope. I don't know. I do. I doubt we win all 5 categories. I know we're up against Comic Pop in one, and they've got like 120,000 subscribers or something crazy. So
yeah, when Jamie shows that, I actually didn't know what they were. I don't know too many other podcasts unless if it's someone we've hit crossovers with. And then when Jamie's like, yeah, he was excited. But then when he showed the picture, it was like 120 something thousand. I was like, oh, dang, they do have a lot. Which did with their mentality, no wonder your beard didn't get nominated. It was nominated. It just didn't make the top 5, though.
Yeah, it was nominated because you probably nominated it.
I think you have to be nominated. I think you have to have multiple people nominating.
No, the original nominated list comes out with just anybody that gets nominated. They just get put on there. The second list of the 5 finalists, that's when they take the ones where it's, all right, these are the ones that had the most nominations. It's okay to say that you nominated yourself.
Other people have nominated me.
Did Maria go on and nominate you? Did you be like, Maria?
You're gonna hand everybody their phones. You're gonna go on and you're gonna type in this.
Oh, I did that at our fantasy football draft last year. I went on everybody's phone. I was like, let me see your phone. And I told everybody, pull up YouTube. And they went, well, I'm just do it. And then I went and said, all right, let me see your phone. I typed the Codex Station, subscribe. Let me see your Codex Station, subscribe. And I had everyone there just took their phones and did it for them.
That's how you do it, Dan.
Oh, boss is in the chat.
Yes, Jamie, I still own Tap Out shirts.
He has yet to tap out on it.
That's right.
Oh! But yeah, I mean, it'd be nice. I don't think that we'll win all of them, but it would be pretty cool to see Sal win Best Host, and it'd be cool to see us win, one of the other categories.
But we want to win them all.
Of course, we want to win them all. But it would be, I mean, last year we didn't get, we weren't in the finals for anything, were we? And now we're in 5 categories, so that's pretty good.
On our way up. Yeah, so. Good stuff. We hope to win. Like I said, everybody, check out the CBC Awards, and you can vote for us.
What's that line from Shallow Hal when Jason Alexander's character is wearing the members only jacket, and Gwyneth Paltrow sees him as like, he's like, members only. Are you the last member? That's it with your tap out shirt. You're the last one to tap out.
Pretty much, yeah. I won't argue that. Yeah. Jimmy says, I remember my part one in 2009. Jimmy, I remember some of those shirts too. Yes, we knew each other back then. Back when we still were teens. Yeah.
Ed Hardy.
No. You see me wear all the comic book stuff all the time. J-Dub prediction that we will take 3 out of 5.
Well, Sonny's a big fan of Roman Reigns.
Oh, I actually do have a Roman Reigns shirt though. Another time I'll have to wear it, where it says something like Big Dog.
You loser.
So, acknowledge me, Dan. So, all right, Dan. It's time for a random panel of the week.
All right.
Ready for this one? I know you're a big Captain America fan, so let me get one with the old Captain America. There is. Bucky says, Captain America, stop. It's impossible for you to eat your shield. And Captain America says, if I don't, Bucky, I'll die. As he attempts to eat his shield.
I don't think that's a real comic panel.
I don't think that is. Bill says, I thought you guys would riot whether you lost or won.
Yep, we're just like Philadelphia Eagles fans.
We'll party if we win, but not so much riot. But always, there you go, Captain America eating it. I wonder if the chat can find out what comic book this is from.
Wow. Look, man, I mean, sometimes you just got to have a little snack. Yeah. I think we've all felt that way at times. Like, I'm so hungry, I'm going to die if I don't eat anything.
And then you just eat your shield. But Dan,
you got to do what you got to do.
And sometimes people make fan art showing that what would happen if Captain America was made by DC, and this was their joke, that to say that this would be a cover if Captain America was made by DC in the 50s and 60s, and then they made this.
Because I think this is a parody of a Superman panel or a Superman cover.
So it was poking fun at DC. Yeah. Who says, "Oh, that shield would be rough coming out." Oh yeah.
Remember the little Nicky when he had Hitler in hell, and he's like, "Oh, I got to shove this pineapple up Hitler's ass," and Hitler walks in the little French maid outfit, and he tells him, "Go over there and pick one," and he picks a tiny one, and the devil's like. Then he's like, it takes the giant one, and the devil goes to put it in, and then turns it sideways. And
all right, not too much butt stuff, Dan.
Hey, no kink shaming, Sonny.
That is right. Yeah, we don't kink shame.
We don't kink shame here.
That you are right. Thank you for correcting me. We do not kink shame at the Code X station. Yeah.
So somebody wearing a tap out shirt shouldn't try and shame anybody.
But here we go. So yes, this comic was just teasing, just fan art. And Mr. Keith says, meanwhile, Tony Stark is full of more iron. But yeah, so there you go. Just a bit of a joke. So this, if you see this image online, this was not real. This is not canon. This was not in any Captain America comic book.
That's what I thought. I thought it was
fun.
I'm pretty sure there was a Superman cover or a Superman panel or something that was like an old one that was him, them saying, don't do it. He's like, if I don't, I'll die. I can't remember what it was.
Maybe it was the hamburgers or something. Maybe
I was going to say maybe it was the one where he was eating all the hamburgers, but I think that might have been a separate thing too. I don't know. I'm gonna look it up real quick.
But I'll get fun. And as you do that, Dan, I tell everybody that it's time for the F list. In case you didn't see it last week, you also joined the F list last week. That was
I just real quick. I just looked it up. It's the cover to Action Comics 454, and Superman's eating all the burgers. He said, "More burgers, chomp. Keep them coming, gulp, or I'll starve to death." And then the waitresses, they're all dumping him, and she goes, "What? But you've already eaten enough for an army."
There you go. But all right, Dan, it's time for the F list. Today, joining the F list is Black Mass, Joffrey Thibodeau. So there he is. You see, he's a thin black man, and he turns into a huge, heavy-set man. And then here's another one of him covering. It says, "No, no, Bobo, you won't hurt Bobo. I won't let you." And that's how it's written. I won't let you. And then here he is again. It says, where'd he come from? He's all big. And then there he is again. I don't know what he's doing with his hands there. I don't know what's going on. And here he is later on. And he's
having a heart attack. That's what he's doing.
And there he is. He's like purple. He suddenly became like purple. And then suddenly here he's in animated form. Back to a regular skin color. But no pupils. Just pale white for his eyes. Yeah. So there we go.
Exactly.
And good one, Bruce. Yes. So exactly. That's. I'm sure they saw a comic book of Fat Albert. Let's make a guy. Sorry, Dan. Would you like to take a guess as to the history of Black Mass?
Well, I see that he's a DC character because I saw him there with one of the, I was like the third or fourth Manhunter, and I saw him with Black Lightning. So I know he's DC. And based on him being with that version of Manhunter, I'm going to say that he appeared in Power Company. So I am going to say, well, you already said his name. What's his name?
His name is Joffrey Thibodeau.
No, his name is Albert Fatius.
Albert Fatius.
And he, as you said, was just a normal, rail thin man. And then he accidentally got exposed to and ate a large amount of radioactive lard. And it gave him the power to grow enormous and fat and super strong. But it also made him, made him stupid. And and gave him the mind of a child, as you could see where he is trying to protect Manhunter and calling him Bobo.
Yes, Bobo. I won't let you.
So, to feed his now insatiable hunger, he had to... Yes, exactly right.
Liz says, ooh.
He had to find a way to feed his now voracious appetite. So he turned to a life of crime. But instead of stealing money or jewels or trying to take over the world, he would just rob grocery stores and restaurants and what do you call it? The little delis in gas stations, so that he could feed himself to keep growing and growing and growing.
All right, Dan.
And it would make sense.
When he grows, does his car keys stab his hip? I don't think he can afford a car.
Okay. And he would be someone that would make sense to have a bunch of pouches, because he would have to have them all filled with snacks.
Yeah.
See, and this is where he's that, go back one. See, that's where he's clearly, putting his arm out and clutching his heart as he's getting ready to fall, as he's having a heart attack and about ready to go into a diabetic coma.
All right, Dan, I'll tell you a bit about Black Mass.
And like you said, with this, real quick too, with this, yeah, he's no pupils. As I said, he ate his pupils and he ate his neck too. He
Yeah.
was that hungry.
Yes, as you can see, yeah, like I said, you can see before he had a neck, and then later on in time, he no longer had a neck. So, Black Mass, Joffrey Thibodeau, was created, and his first appearance was in Justice League of America 234. Came out in January of 1985. So it was created.
Trail mix in his pouches.
Yeah, he could have some trail mix in his pouch.
Nobody gets that big eating trail mix.
He's eaten every trail mix that's been in the world.
Unless their trail mix, instead of being made up of like raisins and peanuts and pretzels, is made up of Skittles and gummy bears and the nachos that Micah Parsons was eating on the way to the game the other day.
All right, but his height, he was 5'5", but when he's like this, he is 9'9". Mr. Keith says his powers to turn violet. Well, yeah, that's not really explained as to how suddenly he turns purple.
I have a feeling that because it looks like it's nighttime there, so I have a feeling that that's just that's just a nighttime scene there.
And as you can see there, he has like some wristbands, and he got those wristbands from the Overmaster, and that's how he got his powers.
Well, thank you for joining us, Liz.
You can always come back and enjoy the rest of the show. We continue to talk about Black Mass. So it was the Overmaster who took this young, frail man, gave him those wristbands, and you see he got the power to turn big and fat. Or as he just said, he cultivated mass. And yeah, he helped out. Yeah, he was a villain, helping out the Overmaster, obviously defeated by the Justice League. And what happened? He later on lost his wristbands to Wally Tortolini in a card game, but did eventually have them returned. Eventually, the wristbands and their power bonded. Eventually, those wristbands bonded permanently to him.
Skittles, pork rinds, and honey buns.
Yeah, I agree with that. I won't argue with that.
Actually, I'm not going to lie.
Maybe
not all together, eaten separately.
But during the riots of the Joker's last laugh at the slab, Black Mass used his powers to draw the entire facility into a gravity well, and then Dina Bell put a bullet in his head and left him in a vegetative state. However, he eventually was to come out of that state, and that's why he suddenly talks like, nobody, no Bobo, you won't hurt Bobo, I won't let you. I thought it was just them being racist about it, but well, it's because he got shot in the head. But later he would surface again, along with Crowbar and Nightfall, trying to leave him, the U.S. He was trying to escape and not get caught because he's a criminal. However, it was Black Lightning that stopped him. And yes, his powers are gravity manipulation, size alteration, like I said, become a fat guy, and of course, like most heavy characters, superhuman strength. Yeah. So that is Black Mass, not starring Johnny Depp.
I guess he would have to manipulate gravity to get his fat ass around, wouldn't he?
There you go. That is why he has that power. Who should have called himself Purple Nurple. Yeah. But Dan, do you think Black Mass can make it out of the F list one day? Do you think one day he can be a legit character?
I mean, he might eat everyone on the F list. He might find a way to eat his way off of it. And it's funny, if you look at this transformation where he's like thin and then, in the middle and then his full one, if you kept the one in the middle, it's like, he's a buff, strong looking dude. Like,
yeah,
if they kept him there, yeah, but it's like, nope, you gotta be big and fat.
Yeah, like you said, the one in the middle is like the shit regular looking.
Yeah, the one in legit's like in the middle is like, all right, man, the costume's kind of plain, but at the same time, that's not necessarily a bad thing. There's a lot of plain kind of costumes that are really, really great. So, that's all right. If they would have just stopped there, but does he make it off the F list? I don't think so. Maybe he eats the F list.
He's gonna have a run for his money. There's quite a few big ones on the F list, like Pink Pearl, but I agree with you, Dan. I think he stays there.
Yes. much to the chagrin of everybody else that is on the F list.
Yeah, Black Mass, Master of Gravity. Hey, he may be fighting Pink Pearl to get some of the extra food. Pink Pearl, and of course, Uncle Gary's favorite. You know who it is from Savage Dragon. Heavy Flow.
Heavy Flow.
Well, there we go.
I'm gonna get him a Heavy Flow action figure.
Yes. Oh man, I asked him before if there was a Heavy Flow action figure. I said, would you want me to just keep it, or would you want me to break it? Yeah. So
you know what you did? We're always sending each other stuff. I know Mike sent you like all the comics, like the Batman Vampire book and all that. You got to get the Savage Dragon issue with Heavy Flow and just send it to him. And don't say you're sending it to him. Just send it to him and wait for him to get it in the mail. Be like, oh, what's this? And open it up. Be like, oh no.
Yeah, I got to. Yeah,
because once he has it, he'll keep it. He's not going to get in and be like, I can't have this. He might bury it in the collection, but it'll still be part of it.
It'll be the Heavy Flow will be in Uncle Gary's Imperium. That's what I got to do.
What would be really funny is next time I go there is to get a copy of it, and when we're like getting ready to film stuff, and he like turns back, just take it and just like put it in a shelf of a bunch of other books and just stick them there and not say anything and wait and see how long it takes him as he's like pulling books out and organizing stuff to be like, what the F is this? Where did this come from?
I was going to say one, like, how we could see certain comics behind us, especially him, if you just set it behind him before an interview starts and do a whole thing, and then when he watches it, let him see it. Which gets you to his gravitational pulls keep him down in the F list. Yes, they do keep old Black Mass down there. Bruce says his F list is for life. Yeah, he's so far down there, yeah. Oh, Bruce says, yeah, F listers should get a trophy with Heavy Flow on it. So many things we can make, so many fun things we can do with the F list. And it's been going on for over 100 episodes now.
Yeah, it's like the Razzies.
Yeah. Maybe we'll have Halle Berry.
And Sonny is wearing the official T-shirt brand of the F list.
Oh, I remember next time I'll make sure to pull this out and be like, there we go. Everybody, there you go for being on the F list. You get official tap out clothes.
All right, I gotta write that down too. Was that like 122, about 10? Because where the comment that says she doesn't like it big and neither do I. Then the other comment of you saying like I pulled this out. That'll be a nice one to go along with it.
Nice. But Dan, now it's time to get to the main event. It's time for us to review Sachs and Violens. Now, there's been quite a few people who worked on it, different people per issue. However, this was a story written by Peter David with artwork done by George Perez.
Yes.
And you picked this one out. This is a 4-issue series. It deals with JJ Sachs and Ernie Violens. And now this is an adult comic book. So, yes, mature readers. So, if somebody young is watching this, just a warning that it is mature, very dark story. And let's
Oh,
hey, who's that down there? It's my wife.
Oh wow, Sonny's wife in the comments firing shots. I love it. So is she just in another? Is she just in another room in your house then?
Yes, she's come home from work and she sees her husband is still on his podcast. So all right. Sachs and Violens.
I like it. Maria, put some interesting embarrassing Sonny tidbits in the chat for us.
All right. But let me get into the story, Dan. The story that you had picked out that we had reviewed, we talked about it for a while. We finally read it. So the story of Sachs and Violens, like I said, JJ Sachs, she is she does some adult movies. She does more like adult modeling, I'd say. And Ernie Violens is, Ernie is the photographer. However, he has a past. He is a Vietnam War veteran, so that's where he got the name Violens. And what it's about is that there was
like a play on his last name.
Yeah. So there was these snuff films being made, and a friend of JJ Sachs has been killed, and then her body is out there. Mr. Keith says, "Thank you for your service. You're welcome." But yeah, so when it comes to Sachs, her friend was killed in one of these snuff films, so that's why she sets out to go find out who did this, to go get them. And since Violence is pretty much, he's in love with her, he sets out to go find her to make sure she's okay. So he basically saves the day. No, Boo says Sonny's an F-lister, quote, his wife. No.
Sonny's going to think twice before wearing a tap-out shirt on the show again,
You know me, Dan. You know I sometimes purposely do things. You know I'm all good. Yeah, so they go after who's behind these snuff films, and he leads them to a lot. Eventually, they even rescue some kids, and then even these kids were taken to a place, and so they use these kids to find out more places where kids are being held. So basically taking out really sick individuals. So that's what it is. Dan, it's a good story. It's an entertaining story. It picks up fast. If anything, I'd say sometimes it seemed like they found out where things were a little too fast. However, really entertaining. Gets to great action, great violence. I love the artwork. I think the artwork for me, George Perez's artwork, was the highlight of it for me. The one big thing for me, because I was entertained throughout the whole thing. Maybe I will wear Affliction next time. One of my, big things for me, like I said, I'm enjoying the story, really getting into it, and then suddenly, though, it's over. And I'm like, that's not how, it felt like, it should have continued on. How about you, Dan?
Well, they always, they say, always leave them wanting more. Yeah, I remember reading something about this. I found it a long time ago. I was reading something about this series that George Perez and Peter David had done, and Perez had said when they asked him in an interview that he was doing about his career, and they asked him about that book, and he had said, like, with the main character, like, we couldn't show her topless in the first issue, like, you had to wait till the second. I was like, what book is this? And I found it, and I went and found it, and I was like, all right, whatever. Because they're not, they're not. Hey, now he's an all-star.
You send me a Smash Mouth shirt, I will suddenly wear it.
That's all right, man. You can just stick to your Spice Girls shirt.
Oh yeah.
But and I found, and it's not an expensive book. You can buy them. They're probably not dollar bin books, because you don't want this in the dollar bin. But I'm sure you could get the whole, like you said, it's 4-issue series. I'm sure you could get it for like $10 or less, maybe. I can't imagine it's any more than that. But yeah, I found it, and the thing that kind of led me to find it was reading about it, almost the shock value type of thing. But then actually reading it, I'm like, well, yeah, there's shock value in this, and there's some crazy shit, but it's actually a good book too.
Yeah.
And he's trying to feel good.
That's right, I am.
Do you have a Katrina in the Waves shirt? That would be pretty funny.
I don't know what a Katrina in the Waves shirt is.
Katrina in the Waves, that's the band that did I'm Walking on Sunshine.
Oh, but no, I don't have the shirt. Yet.
It would be awesome if you had like a Winger shirt.
I would wear a Winger shirt, though. I would grab. Where's my Winger greatest hits? And you know what song is number 17, right? 17. Dan, I know we're miles away, but let's hear more about your thoughts on Sachs and Violens.
Got my lame music mixed up. Hey, I love that song, I'm Walking on Sunshine, man. That's a great song. That song makes you happy every time it comes on. Where was I saying? Yeah, there's definitely the shock value in it. There's nudity, there's violence, there's, the snuff film stuff and all that. But it is, it is an entertaining story. It is a, good book. There is of course, the romance angle to it, where he's got the hots for her and all that. But it's not really a book that you would expect to be made by Peter David and George Perez, which is why I thought of it like, when you said, hey, pick something for this, for the reading thing. And that's why I hate it. You know what? I'll tell you something else, Booge, and I'm not ashamed to admit it. Whenever Wake Me Up Before You Go comes on, I crank the shit out of that in the car. I'm singing along to it.
It's a good old Wham.
But, yeah, it's not the book that you expect those two guys to get together and make. and when it came time for me to to pick the next thing that we would read, like I said in the pre-show, I'm trying to think, all right, what is it, something A, that I'm pretty sure Sonny hasn't read before, and B, would be something completely unexpected for him. And I was like, oh, this. And it can't be anything long, because all the recommended readings have to be between it's probably like a 6-issue max. Like it's got to be, one storyline, one mini series, a one shot or something. So I was like, all right, it's only 4 issues, good creative team. It's something he's not really going to expect. And I was thinking, like, I'm pretty sure when he sees, oh, this is Peter David and George Perez, like that you're going to start reading it and then get to a point where it's like, I did not expect that.
Right from the beginning, the opening scene.
Yeah. Yes. So yeah, and of course I try and generally pick stuff that I think is excuse me, that I think is good too.
Yeah, because it's good. And there was even some creepy parts. I think one part that stood out was like one of the creepiest images was when they was a hug-a-mugger, like the big dinosaur-looking character, and they have the kids, and his mouth suddenly opens, and you see these creepy, menacing eyes. I was like, that was a very dark image. So there's great artwork there. And even to Moloch, the huge, disgusting one, he was pretty creepy and nasty. And always good when we see all these nasty characters and you see them getting shot in the face and all these things. And then Sachs, she has a whip and she's whipping everybody. So
when you see them get their comeuppance.
Yeah. And when she's by the door trying to distract them, and then first it shows like her face, and then it shows her and you see she's completely like topless to get their attention.
Yeah, remember that scene in The Whole 9 Yards where Amanda Peet walks out, she's topless, and there's the guy they're trying to kill him. She's like, "Hey," and the guy gets distracted, and then Bruce Willis comes out and like shoots the hell out of him. It's kind of like that.
Yeah. So, Dan, story you had picked out. What about you? What for the record, the characters, Sachs and Violens, even though, like I said, the story unfortunately felt like whoa, just a sudden stop. The characters continued on in other comic books, but this was their whole series was these 4. Dan, what do you think of the series, rating wise?
Overall, I enjoyed it. I like Peter David. Like I said, he's a great storyteller. George Perez, I mean, one of my Mount Rushmore artists. So overall, I'd say I'd give this a 9 out of 10.
A 9 out of 10 for Dan.
Good, entertaining book. Would be interested to see them try to adapt this to live action. They never will, but it would be interesting to see something like that.
Yeah, for me, like I said, I really enjoyed it. All 4 issues, I was really hooked. But the one thing was there was a big disappointment when I was like, "That's it. That's not an ending." But still, overall enjoyed the story. It left me wanting more, but it did also was like because I know this. This was how many years? This was decades ago. So I'm like, I know that
this is in the 90s.
Continue.
I think it was Epic. I think that put it out, which was Marvel's a line Marvel had for like horror books. Like they put out the Hellraiser book through that, and they would have creators do like their own creator own stuff through that.
Yeah, so this was early 90s because there was one part there. There was some good comedy in here too, even through all the darkness. There was some good comedy, some good funny parts, like when the sister Mac, when she and JJ, Sachs are talking, and Sachs, your dad just get mad at your stuff. Let's see, who just says that's a legendary creative team, but I don't think I've ever heard of the book. It's an underrated gem, I will say.
It's when we say there's sex and violence, it's not like the violence or something you'd see in like a 90s Punisher book or something. Like when we say violence, like you see violence, you see like when we say like like oh there's nudity, it's not like oh yeah but there's stuff that's hidden by shadows. Like no, it's straight up like Perez is drawing beautiful naked women in it.
Nipples. But all right. But speaking of the nudity, Dan, there was one part I was going to mention at the Mardi Gras. So I was going to say funny parts. I like when Mac, the sister, when Sachs is like, "Oh, Dad just came mad about you, what you do," and then you see Mac is dressed and she's a nun. She's like, "Well, it's a bit different." But also another funny part was at the Mardi Gras part. And like I said, speaking of people naked, there's a guy and his pants are down. And the back of his shirt reads, "I'll trade Spawn #1 for beads." So little things like that you catch. But I think it was a great story. I said I wanted more, so that is a compliment to the story. But I recommend it. I think it's an underrated gem by two legends of the game. And I give Sachs and Violens an 8.5 out of 10.
All right.
Yeah, so it was a great read. Just wanted more.
Yeah, it is disappointing that they never went back and did anything with them.
So who knows? But I'm glad for the 4 issues we got to read it and check out this very dark and entertaining story.
So if you were to come across this, like I know you and Jamie are getting ready to go to this convention. If you were to be walking around and find a vendor had like, you know, where they'll bundle miniseries together and had all 4 of them for like $10 or $15, would you pick it up?
I'd say definitely worth it. And yeah, I think even better to read it in comic book form. But yeah, because even through some of the pages, you know, it takes the whole thing. Like one when Violence, he's jumping down and he's attacking with all his guns, shooting. Like they'd be better to see even in comic book form. Or one when Sachs, she's in the woods and he's practicing and everything. And it's so there's a lot of good artwork. Definitely worth a pickup, everybody. So I think a great story.
So how would you compare this to reading Happy?
You know, I found them both similar. You know, when I read it, I was like, okay, you know, the story picked out like the dark, the bit of violence. This one, I was, you know, I think this one I was gonna go a little bit higher, but they said it was just the abrupt ending that brought me down a little bit. And then Happy is a story when I thought, because this reminded me of it, I almost thought, I wonder if going back to Happy, if I was to check it out again, I wonder if my rating would be a bit higher. It depends.
Yeah.
But yeah, 2 similar stories. 8.5 for Sachs and Violens. And then next week I should be on here again with Uncle Gary and Mike. And then the week after that will be me and Sal the Slab Guy, and we are set to review Spider-Man 800. Yeah, so next week still got to pick out what we're going to read next week. Maybe another crossover with with DC and Marvel getting ready to cross over. We're going to do some crossovers.
Should do one of the amalgam books.
Yeah. I think a while ago, a couple of years ago, to Dark Claw. But yeah, maybe another amalgam story.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did Dark Claw.
We did a while ago. Yeah, and everybody who's watching, feel free to throw out any recommendations that you'd like for us to read, review, anything. You know, you want me in more tap out shirts? If you want me wearing that Winger shirt, or whoever, maybe a Cyndi Lauper shirt. Who knows? I won't be afraid to show you my true colors.
Cyndi Lauper. I mean, girls just want to have fun, Sonny.
That is right.
That's all they really want.
She bop, he dop, bop a do. So, everybody, thank you for joining us. I always have a pleasure. Have a good time hosting the Codex podcast for you all. Remember, tomorrow is another episode of Comic Character of the Week. Who is it, Dan?
Tomorrow we are going to be covering Red Tornado.
Red Tornado. That's kind of how I look when I go in the sun for about 10 minutes. I get all red.
Yeah, Red Tornado tomorrow, and next week we are doing
Black Knight.
Yes.
Nice. And Bruce says, let's see, read TMNT book Body Count. Trust me, okay. I will put that on my list.
Scud would be a bit long for. Thank you, Booze. 1 million would be a decent one for them to read.
Mr. Keith, thank you for saying. Thanks for making Wednesdays worth the work week, Sonny. My pleasure.
Scud would be a bit much for them, which I have the. Where is it sitting? I have the omnibus for Scud right here, and
he's like the yellow kind of robot guy, right?
Yes, I think that this is a bit much for Sonny to read for
in 1 week. Yeah, but you might, even if I don't get on the show, maybe one day just to check it out.
Yeah, here's the picture on the back of the creator.
Oh, kind of reminds me of Leo from Sachs and Violens a little bit. Leo is a pretty interesting character.
Yeah, so this is the series had 24 issues, 3 spin-offs, 2 video games, and action figures, with an option for numerous times for TV and movies. that never got made. So, but yeah, I think this would be a bit much for Sonny to read for for one show.
Mr. Keith says he has the omnibus as well. Nice.
Yeah, it's cool. I keep meaning to draw. Scud's on my list of characters I want to draw to put up on my page. I'll get to it eventually.
Who's this? Hellboy, Lobster Johnson, and BPRD. And the Goon. So a lot of good stuff. Yeah, he said we always have to hear it, everybody. Even while we're on the air, or even after the show is done, we do go back and check the comments. So feel free to let us know what you'd like for us to read. And all those stuff you mentioned, I'll put those in my to-read list. So everyone, thank you very much for joining us. I'm your host, Sonny Kruger. I was joined today by Dan Kelly. And I shall see you all next week on the next episode of the Code X Podcast. And you shall see Dan Kelly tomorrow on Comic Character of the Week, Red Tornado. This would be a good shirt to wear for it. See, Dan, I'm ready for the Red Tornado shirt.
No.
Now you need to get your red tap-out shirt to be in character for Red Tornado.
You know what? You can next day mail me that one.
No, but this is mine. You can't have it.
That's okay. I don't want it.
Okay, Dan. Sure. Goodbye, everybody. Take care.
You buy